Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the special bonus episode of Tips and Bits by the Undisputed Nerds. This is a supplementary show that we do in addition to our regular podcast, Undisputed Nerds, which you can find on Spotify, YouTube, all your favorite podcasting platforms and places. I am the Gentleman the Gamer, one of your delectable co-hosts, and I am joined, as usual this week, by what I can only describe as the man with the most glorious beard and hair I've ever seen, Zane Taicho. Say hello, Zane.
Hello.
Guys, this is a show we do called Tips and Bits, where we go into this week's hottest tips and bits to give you all the news and all the gossip. Well, I mean, bits of it that have been happening during the week. So Zane, how are you? I did promise on our regular podcast, for those who have listened, a story about a monumental clash that happened this week. Would you like to set the scene for what happened this week between the the Undisputed family?
So stories have been told of worlds colliding. You know, this is secret wars, incursions happening. So the story goes that I was meeting up with the boys. There's two behind the scenes
Carl Urban
of Undisputed Anime and Anime. I keep saying anime, but it's anime. As I've been pointed out to.
He calls himself a true fan.
Yeah, I know, right? Anyways.
He just calls it manga.
So we were going to the cinema to review the new Dragon Ball movie because it was an advanced screening. Thanks, Crunchyroll. For the email, they didn't give us any tickets. They just let us know there's an advanced screening.
Oh, that was nice. Go.
Yeah. I was like, oh, yeah.
We need more sales. Go.
Anyways, so we were going to the cinema, but we got there a little early, so we thought it'd be nice to have dinner and catch up and, you know, all that jazz. And as we were going to the cinema, we thought we'd get a coffee, you know, just chill out, have a nice relaxing evening. And who did we bump into?
Me, obviously. Maybe a pretty terrible story otherwise.
You and Drax as well.
Yes. So yeah, for those listeners who are long-term listeners, we have a somewhat recurring co-host who joins us, Drac Eras, who is one of my best friends of 20 plus years. I consider him like a brother to me. And I met up with him because we both live in the town that we live in. Yes, it was. The reason why this is noteworthy is it was the first meeting between the Undisputed Anime crew and the Undisputed Nerds crew. And as I mentioned before the show to Zane quietly, Zane's been stoking a war between the two of us for years, basically just prodding at me and his co-host on the other show, Susude, to say, you know, this guy said this about you, and this guy said this about you, so you guys better go to war. Secretly, he doesn't want me and him to come together and form the ultimate podcast without him. That's what it is. So he's trying to keep us at distance. I said he's very much like, as far as like world nations are concerned, I'm not going to mention any names, but I think we all know who he is stoking the wars. That's all I'm going to say right there. So, you know, Zane, maybe just try and be a bit more like Switzerland, yeah?
I mean, you could have used like Icarus in Eternals as a reference, you know, trying to stop the Unimind happening.
Icarus is the bad guy in that.
Well, is that what you were painting me as?
Yes!
Exactly.
100%. He's trying to keep us away from each other. Susan, if you listen to this, and you're not going to listen to this because you hate our show, but if you didn't, we should come together and just cast him out. But no, it was nice to meet him. I shook his hand. I was very cordial with him. He gripped my hand very tightly, almost crushed it, I will say. You know, I could feel the bones breaking as he slowly started to squeeze the life out of me. But yeah, no, it was lovely. It was a nice first meeting. Thanks for barely introducing us.
What can I say?
Should have seen him. It was like when honestly, guys, it was like when you have that situation where you're in a restaurant or a cafe with your now girlfriend, and your ex turns up, and you have to do that awkward like, yeah, this is the person I used to sleep with.
That old chestnut.
Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe that's what makes it awkward. Who knows? But there you go. Anyway, yes, it was a meeting of the minds. And if you're out there, Susude, I have nothing but respect for you and putting up with Zane. So anyway, Zane.
On a different matter, I got a new comic book this week. Do you want to have a look?
You? Oh, yeah. What'd you get?
I got a new Black Panther comic. Look at that.
Oh, look at you, shiny devil.
It's
in the packaging as well. I don't think I've got anything to show you this week. I do have duplicate copies of some comic books that I found that I need to get rid of, which I can show you.
Really?
Yeah. Are you ready for these?
Yeah.
Are you ready for them? This is going to be good. You're going to love this. Right.
Okay.
All right. So we've got Brian Azzarello's The Joker, which is very good.
Yeah.
Hardback edition. Very nice. It's my second copy that was bought for me by someone else, but I have it already. Absolute classic, possibly the greatest crossover DC ever did. Batman versus Predator.
Nice. Wow.
It is nice. It's amazing. This is one of the books that got me into comics. Not gonna lie, not quite so nice. And was bought for me anyway. I don't know how I've wound up with 2 copies of this, but I have.
Right.
One of the lesser known crossover titles, Batman and Tarzan.
Oh, wow.
The Claws of the Catwoman. Somehow, Zane, I've wound up with 2 of these.
What?
I don't know how it happened. What else have I got up here? I've got a couple of others up here, actually. Hang on. What else have I got? I've got Chrononauts, but not many people know that. And I've got The Dark Knight Returns as well. That's like my 5th copy of The Dark Knight Returns. It's one of those things when people hear that you're into comic books, they're all just like, "Oh, I know the perfect gift for you, The Dark Knight Returns." And it's like, I've got it. I've had it for years. I've got the special Frank Miller collection of The Dark Knight where I've got all of them in one package as well.
No.
So yeah. Anyway, is it going to be valuable in the future? I doubt it, because there's about 50 million copies of them. So
and 9 different editions over the years.
Exactly. Anyway,
can I have your Joker copy? Can I have that as an early birthday present?
Yes, you can.
Thank you.
Damn it, I've said it on stream now. So, guys, tips and bits. So what we normally do on tips and bits is we normally divide it into 3 sections that I give Zane the choice of picking. Zane, this week we've got Marvel, we've got DC, and we've got miscellaneous. We've got a whole heap of miscellaneous. So give me your best shot. Tell me which one you want, baby.
DC. I'll go DC this week.
DC to begin. Right.
What's happening?
All right. What's happening? Well, this is a very interesting thing to have happen. Everyone's favorite Lex Luthor has been running around. Jesse Eisenberg. He's been at Sarajevo Film Festival, the 28th Sarajevo Film Festival. And the actor has reflected on his DCU experience and how, let's just say, some people were not a fan of his interpretation of the role, and he's not really expecting to be called back again. I'll read the quote out to you. So, when asked about it at the Sarajevo Film Festival, he said, "I felt very personal about it. The writer, Chris Terrio, is a very serious writer, and he's a very emotional person. He thought a lot about my character, and I thought a lot about my character too. I talked with my acting coach about the character a lot, about his backstory with his father and his emotional life, and then people hate me. I'd be shocked if I wound up in a DC movie again, but it would be a pleasant shock. Listen, I'm not a comic book fan. To me, it was not playing a role that I'd envisioned since childhood. To me, it was a chance to play this great character that this great writer wrote, and I loved doing that. So to play it is a joy, and to not play it isn't something that I'm not going to be ashamed to tell my kids about, because that's not an important genre in my life, even though I love doing the movie." So he continued to say that he hasn't shut the door on starring in any comic book movies again. But clearly, he's not interested. Clearly, he didn't understand the character. And clearly, he did it because he knew who Chris Terrio was.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Jesse Eisenberg? Are you sad that he's not coming back, Zane?
No. I mean, no. Yeah, I don't think even if he had time now to kind of have another swing at it, it would change much. But I can't help but speculate. Like, if he were to come back to DC, like, who would he be recast as? Like, could you imagine him in any other sort of?
Based on his performance as Lex Luthor, the
Yeah.
only and this is a stretch. This is a big stretch for me. The only thing I could imagine him as is Jervis Tetch, the Mad Hatter.
Oh, nice! I like that.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can see him. Based on his performance as Lex Luthor, the same twitchy craziness. That is what you need for Jervis Tetch. So he would be. I think he would be good as that.
I think he'd be a good Riddler. But now we've come out the other end of the Batman, and we've seen an incredible Riddler,
a great Riddler. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't see him. Also, as far as the Riddler's concerned, I think that Paul Dano was fantastic because he had that smart menace that the Riddler needs. Drac was telling me about. There's been a Riddler one shot recently, where
by Tom King.
Yes, by Tom, exactly, which is the one where the plot of it just sounds insane. Where it's basically like the Riddler's always been holding back with Batman, and now he's basically given up holding back, and he's just said, the next time you or the police interfere in anything that I do, I'm just going to randomly kill someone. You won't know who it is. You won't know where it's going to happen. I'm just going to murder someone because you interfered with my business. And they do, and then he does, and then it's like basically then it starts to become this like cat and mouse game of like, can we interfere? Can we risk it? Can we not risk it? And the Riddler starts to get away with stuff, and it sounds awesome. And
Tom
it's
King
a shame.
Loves, like, the last few comics he's done. I think he's got a real love for the Riddler.
He's got a
I
Riddler
can't remember. I didn't want to say it. I felt
Riddler
like
on.
I just murdered it then, and you brought it back.
I put you dragging screaming back into
it. But yeah, he writes the Joker well, but I think Riddler plays to his writing strengths. He's really, really good at it.
Yeah. No, I don't really want to see Jesse Eisenberg back, but if he's coming back, then put him in as a Batman villain. Maybe Scarecrow as well. I'd be quite interested to see his take on Jonathan Crane.
I was just trying to think. What about Max Lord?
No, Max Lord's different. Max Lord is he's like ironically enough, I think Pedro Pascal was great casting for Max Lord, but just terribly written.
Yeah.
You need to have that handsome evilness with Max Lord. Then he's like a real handsome, smarmy nightmare
business,
guy.
Like sleaze.
Business. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, moving on with the other bit of DC news that we've got this week. Zane.
Yes.
I think we can all agree that when it comes to sequels, there's some big sequels coming out. Aquaman 2, Shazam 2, Batman 2 is on its way. But I bet you won't guess what other big sequels coming to a property you never realized you wanted a sequel to. Well, here it comes, baby.
Okay.
The Jeff Bridges, Ryan Reynolds starring R.I.P.D.
Wow.
A sequel is on its way called R.I.P.D. 2, Rise of the Damned. R.I.P.D. was released in 2013. It was met with terrible reviews. It sits at a dire 12% on Rotten Tomatoes. The movie grossed only 78 million on a budget of over 130 million. Now, nearly a decade later, a follow-up is on the way. It's not starring Reynolds nor Bridges.
Really?
It's going to have Richard Fleishman, Jake Choi, Kerry Knoop, and Stephanie Levi-John, all relatively unknown, picking up where they left off in the first film. Zane, are you excited to see R.I.P.D. 2?
I have seen the movie more than once, and I want to say that I even saw it quite recent. I saw it this year. But I don't know. There's something weird about it. I kind of like the concept. I like the CGI wasn't terrible from what I remember. It's just a really sort of wonky
Bad movie
story. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a bad movie. Just a bad movie. Yeah, I'm not excited to see this, and I don't care. But I thought it was hilarious that they're making a sequel to it.
10 years
by the way,
later.
Also, just for the record, straight to DVD. It ain't going to the cinema. It's straight to DVD. So there we go. So yeah, that's all the DC news I had this week. So Marvel or Misk?
Round it up with the Marvel. I'm saving the Misk.
Saving the Misk. Okay, beautiful. All right. So we talked a bit on our main podcast this week about She-Hulk episode 1. Go and have a look for the review, see what we thought of it. Tatiana Maslany has obviously been on the map at the moment doing various interviews. This source comes from it comes from a site called Comedy Bang Bang, where she was doing a podcast and talked about some of her attempts to join the Marvel universe previously.
Oh,
she was up for a very surprising role. Would you like to have a guess, Zane, at which role you think Tatiana Maslany was up for previously in? I'm going to use this very broadly.
Okay.
Marvel.
Is it Morbius?
You're very close.
Yeah.
Very, very close. I will read the quote. I've been trying to get to them, Maslany said on Comedy Bang Bang podcast, on her attempts to join the Marvel Universe. They've rejected me multiple times. Pushed to reflect on which projects she's auditioned for, she added Venom. Not for Venom, unfortunately, but for Venom's girlfriend or whatever. Just Venom's girlfriend, just the symbiote's girlfriend. So she was up for the role of Anne Weying, who went to Michelle Williams, otherwise known as She-Venom, who appears as She-Venom in the film. I don't know what I think about this, because the role is kind of a bit nothing in terms of the film. We get the famous bit where she actually turns into She-Venom at one point, but it's not really anything amazing. I think she's much better suited for Jennifer Walters. But what are your thoughts? Would you have liked to have seen her in Venom?
No. Plus, I really like the actress that's in Venom.
Michelle Williams, yeah.
Yeah, because there's that chemistry of, like, Eddie Brock is... he has a lot of... He brings a lot of shit to the table, dare I say.
Zane?
I know. And I feel like she can handle his BS, basically. Even if it includes, like, an attached alien that has... feelings.
I like Michelle. Obviously, Heath Ledger's ex. I like her a lot. She's great. I think she's much better suited for it than Maslany would have been. I'm not bothered really about this. I'm happy that she didn't get into Venom, because that's a poison chalice if ever I've heard it. Honestly, it's that those films, Zane. What the hell, man? Like, why? They're just not good. They're just not good. I'm sorry. I don't like any of the Sony Marvel stuff so far, apart from Spider-Man.
Did we speak about it last week, about the rumors around Madam Web and the Madam Web movie and everything?
What was this?
Okay. So the rumors are that the story of the Madam Web movie is that all the sort of female spider women come together to protect Mary Parker, who is pregnant with Peter Parker, and to protect her from whatever oncoming threat. So it's basically Terminator 2, but with all the different Spider Women.
God.
And Uncle Ben is in the movie as well.
Is Kenny Omega going to turn up and do the Terminator dive? Is that what's going to happen?
Oh,
That's what
I mean, it'll improve the movie.
Yeah, no kidding. So wait, it's going to be. So what you're saying is it's going to be female. So like female Spider Women turning up to protect female Mary Parker from maybe female baddie,
maybe,
or maybe male baddie.
Maybe.
So basically, Terminator Dark Fate.
Maybe.
That's exactly what it is. Let's face it. Interesting. Very interesting. Cool. Great. Can't wait to not see it at the cinema. Thanks, Soli. They've my goodness, they've all I want to see is just like it'll just cut to the Sony president sitting in his office. And then like he's got like a Madam Web promo poster just on his desk laid out. And then the execs just come in and just put a swag bag of money down on top of the poster, and he just leans back and they just go, "Sir, you've done it again." And then it just cuts to like the credits.
It's just one of those things, isn't it, where it's just kind of like we need to do a Madam Web movie, but we have no idea what we're going to do. And if someone just goes, "Why don't we just do Terminator?" And it's like,
it's just great. I just love the idea that it's like they were in a room, right? And they've got the list of all of the Spider-Man universe, just the Spider-Man universe. They've got the whole list of all the people who are in that, right? They've gone down the list, and the executives just looked at it, and maybe that day he had an appointment with a dominatrix or something, and he's just gone down the list and gone, Madame Web. Sounds saucy. Make a movie about her. And then they've just gone, do you know who Madame Web is? Oh, I know by the name. That's all I need to know by. Sir, she's an 80-year-old woman in a chair. No, it doesn't matter. Don't tell me. I want a Madame Web movie. That is what I feel like is a pitch in the Sony room. That's what they've done. It's like the next line down was just like Spider-Woman. And it's just like, sir, wouldn't it be better to do a Jessica Walters Spider-Woman? Wouldn't it be better to do that? And it's like, no, Jessica Drew, sorry, Spider-Woman. No. I want Madame Web.
What about Spider-Gwen? No. It's the animated. No.
I like my female superheroes to be mature. She's an 80-year-old woman, sir, who's in a chair. I want a different take on the superhero genre. Yes. Anyway, Jesus, terrifying. Cool, good. Anyway, right, moving on with Marvel news. So I'm glad Tatiana Maslany's She-Hulk wasn't in Venom. Rumors abound, Zane. There are rumors all over the place, courtesy of Comic Book Movie and comicbookmovie.com, and also the Twitter pseudonym at Can We Get Some Toast, who has a very solid track record when it comes to rumors. The Punisher,
yes,
is coming.
We spoke about it last week, didn't we?
Well, what we spoke about was Rosario Dawson accidentally let slip that Bernthal's take on Frank Castle set to return, which she immediately backpedaled on. However, the report is now doing the rounds online, claiming that the Punisher will show up in the planned Daredevil Born Again Disney Plus series.
Oh boy.
Yes. Now, obviously, rumor, take it with a minute pinch of salt. But we have seen history between the two of them previously in the Netflix series. Wouldn't be surprised if he did turn up in the Born Again series. Would you want to see Bernthal back as Punisher? I think we talked about it last week, but would you like to see him specifically back in Daredevil Born Again?
Yeah, that'd be cool. And look, if they do decide to do a spin-off, what I would really love is if they were to do like a live version of Jason Aaron's current run, where he works for the Hand. Well, he's the leader of the Hand now.
Oh, right, okay.
Which is really cool.
Cool.
And they worship him as like some sort of harbinger of death and, the ultimate warrior.
Interesting.
So yeah, I kind of like that
Yeah, I
idea
like
and
that.
such.
That's cool. That's a great idea.
But there's an anime movie where he works for Shield as well, which is pretty cool.
What movie?
An anime movie.
I know her, Anime. I know her. She's a lovely lady.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm at the point now where I just want to see Bernthal back as Punisher. I don't care what it is. He was fantastic casting. I have to say, this may cause a bit of controversy. Ray Stevenson in Punisher Warzone is one of my favorite takes on the Punisher ever. And Punisher Warzone is a damn good movie, even though it got absolutely slated, because he's great and Dominic West's take on Jigsaw is fantastic. And the film was released in the wrong period of time because it was just hyper over the top, hyper real violence, supposed to be like the comic books.
Right.
So much so like the comic books that the director actually put the comic books of the Punisher in the premiere at the theater to show the audience. I was inspired by this. This is what I'm inspired by, and it is it is exactly like the books. You know, there's nothing more amazing than when Frank Castle sets his own broken nose with a pencil in that film. Like it's awesome.
Is that the same actor who did the Dirty Laundry mini movie, like YouTube? There's like a black and white movie.
Who? Ray Stevenson.
I think so.
He's one of the Warrior 3 in Marvel.
Okay, no, it's a different actor I'm thinking of there.
He's oh god, the fat one. Fastos, that's it. Thank you. No, is it Fastos?
I think so.
Fastos was one of the Eternals.
Maybe. No, you said that.
I need to look it up. Warriors 3.
Was that Pathos?
Warriors 3. Who the hell are they? Volstagg, that's who he is. He's Volstagg. Yeah, Fastos is one of the Eternals. Yeah, it's Fandral, Hogan, and Volstagg. Yeah, he's Volstagg in the MCU before they were murdered by Hela. That's still one of the stories, by the way, that I want to see interpreted. I hope they do that story. So when I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent here. This is a real tangent away from Punisher, but what the hell? Indulge me. When they had the Ultimate Universe of Marvel. In the comics that died and it basically got destroyed. And then some of the stuff from the Ultimate Universe got integrated over into the mainstream universe, like Mars Morales, for example, was integrated into the mainstream universe. The Reed Richards, I can't remember what his bad guy name, but the Reed Richards villain was brought into this universe. So what else was brought into this universe was the Stormbreaker, Mjolnir, but it was Stormbreaker that he used Stormbreaker in the Ultimate Universe, and it gave him the powers of Thor. And Volstagg found that hammer and became the War Thor. That's what his name was in the books, and it was this big thing about it. There was the War Thor, and I wish they'd have done that. I wish they would do that in the books. I thought they might do that with Love and Thunder because it was like multiversal and you could have different hammers coming in from different universes, but sadly they didn't. But they didn't do enough with the Warrior 3, man. The cast for them as well was great, and it is a shame. But yeah, anyway, I digress. Yeah, Punisher. Going back to Punisher. Yes, I want to see Punisher. I definitely want to see him in the MCU. I definitely want to see him in Daredevil. I'm fine with it. Whatever. You?
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize that was a setup then. I'm fine with it. And if Disney do nerf him because of violence and everything else, fine. Like, whatever. I don't mind. It'd just be cool to have him to say, yes, he exists. Here he is.
Exactly.
But he's behind this curtain.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So here we go. Miscellaneous. That was all the Marvel I had for this week. I'm sure there is other Marvel news, but I just haven't picked it out yet. Miscellaneous. Let's start with Fantastic Beasts.
Oh,
So, Fantastic Beasts. So, Deadline via SFF Gazette did an interview with Mads Mikkelsen, the
nice.
Grindelwald actor from Secrets of Dumbledore. And Mads Mikkelsen had some very interesting things to say, including putting it out there in the universe that potentially the man he replaced, Johnny Depp, might return as Grindelwald.
Oh.
So I will read the quote. Mikkelsen said of filling in for the actor, "It was very intimidating. Obviously, well, now the course has changed. He won the lawsuit, the court case. So let's see if he comes back, because he might come back. I'm a big fan of Johnny, and I think he's an amazing actor. I think he did a fantastic job. Having said that, I could not copy him. There's no way that I could just copy it, because it was just so much him. It would be creative suicide. So he had to come up with something else, something that was mine, and build a bridge between him and me. So yes, it was intimidating. His fans were very, very sweet, but they were also very stubborn. I didn't interact too much with them, but I could understand why they had their hearts broken." So I think it's fair to say that we on the Undisputed Nerds podcast were not a great fan of Secrets of Dumbledore. It wasn't a very well done film. I think of all the things that were in it, he was probably one of the highlights of it.
Absolutely.
Thoughts on Johnny Depp potentially reprising the role again and coming back now that obviously his lawsuit has kind of died down with Amber Heard and he's won and been acquitted. We won't go into that on the show, but what are your thoughts on that one, buddy?
I really like Johnny Depp. The only problem I had is with I can't even remember the second movie's name. The one where
Crimes of Grindelwald.
Crimes. I didn't find. I don't know if it was because the way it was written or the way it was shot or whatever. I didn't find it as engaging as I hoped when I went into that movie. To the point where if I were to compare Mads' performance in the last one, Mads gave more of a presence, a performance where I felt like Crimes was by the numbers. Like,
yes,
I'm creepy for the sake of being creepy. I sit on rooftops and smoke out of a skull. Whoa. Where Mads was, you earn my respect, and because there's that whole thing with one of the wizards infiltrating his party, isn't there? And he tries to get close to Mads and stuff. It's that level of it. Again, I don't know if it's because the way it's written and such, but I believed it more with Mads.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I think Mads Mikkelsen was amazing. I think he's excellent in everything. It still breaks my heart that he won't be Doom, frankly, because he is just excellent.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, at this point in time, I can't see why. Maybe they'll start doing that a weird thing where they'll have both of them switching out between the two. Maybe it'll be Grindelwald.
Magic.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? But yeah, I wouldn't be heartbroken if Johnny came back. But I think sticking with Mads is a good thing.
Yeah.
I realize there's now three actors who've played that one role in three different films. You realize that?
Yeah.
Like I will say Colin Farrell should have come back, just for the record. Why they didn't get Colin Farrell back as him, I don't know. Because he played him in the first film.
Yeah.
And then it was revealed he's Grindelwald. But he was great in that film. In Fantastic Beasts, he was awesome. And then they did Johnny in the second one, and now they got Mads in the third one. But Colin Farrell should have come back. Colin Farrell's amazing. I'm super high on Colin Farrell.
Do you think that might have been due to Penguin?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm 100% sure it was. But
yeah.
But yeah. Also, I guess he doesn't want it. He's the kind of actor who doesn't really want to get super typecast as well, isn't he? So he does like to flirt around movies. So anyway. Right. Moving on to some Star Wars news. So Star Wars Episode 9. Zane, we all loved it, didn't we? We all thought it was the best of the franchise, and it was the greatest thing that J.J. Abrams has ever done. Right? We all agree on that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Why not?
Bit divisive. Anyway, Colin Trevorrow was originally the director of episode 9. And he was asked recently on comicbookmovie.com if he ever wanted to potentially return to the franchise. His script was leaked out onto the web of his version because he left the project due to creative differences. And a lot of people, myself included, have said that that script was much better, and it is much better than what was actually given in episode 9. So if you get the chance, guys, I think there's a Reddit forum about it out there. If you get the chance to read the script for what Trevorrow's episode 9 was, you should give it a go because it is very interesting. Some bits I don't like, some bits I really do like, but it's good. This is the quote from what Trevorrow said. It starts off really well. I don't know. Not because of Star Wars, but because I've spent 8 or 9 years making new versions of the things we loved when we were kids, you know? In one place or another, he's talking about Jurassic Park, by the way. In one way or another, there's not just a lot of pressure on that, but it also casts a shadow over everything else that you want to do. I made a small film after Jurassic Park, and I was the director of Star Wars when I made it. And I think to be able to step out of that a little bit and not having everything I do be in the context of our belief systems is interesting to me. So he's basically saying that everything that he does gets overshadowed by the massive projects that he does, because instead of just being director, blah, 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 it's the next director of Star Wars, blah, 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 blah. So Trevorrow is doing War Magician, a movie about a British illusionist, Jasper Maskelyne. He used magic to help defeat the Nazis during World War II, and Benedict Cumberbatch is attached to the star. It doesn't have a release date currently. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the Trevorrow situation? Like, because he was one of those guys where it's like he was a hot up and comer. There was a thing at the time where it was him and the guy who did Fantastic Four.
Okay, Josh Trank.
Josh Trank, thank you. Those two were like hot and up and comers after Chronicle and then Jurassic World. No, it was Chronicle and then Trevorrow did a really small independent film. And somebody said there are 2 mainstream Hollywood movies coming out this year. One of them is going to be incredible. The other one is a dumpster fire. And the one that was incredible was Jurassic World. And the one that was a dumpster fire was Fantastic Four. And so Trevorrow kind of like got super hot and super popular and then had this falling out with Disney and didn't do episode 9 for whatever reasons. Like I said, read the script for episode 9 that is out there. But would you be interested in seeing him helming some stuff after Jurassic World and all the other projects that he's done?
Yeah, he's a talented creator and director from what I've seen, especially Chronicle. Like, that was insanely good.
That's Trank.
Oh, it was Trank. Sorry, I thought the two of them worked together on it for a second. No. I'm just thinking we live in an age now where the Star Wars territory is kind of like we want more, but more of different. We don't want more of the same. Why not give it to someone who has an idea to take it in? I'm not saying like it needs to go in a specific direction, but look at Andor. Like that looks more like Star Wars than Episode 9 did. Like it's insane.
I think.
I was just going to say, I don't know if you saw, but they're re-releasing Rogue at cinemas. Lead up to Andor. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'd quite like to see that. I think it's a tricky. Star Wars is a really tricky thing, and I will say, I think a lot of it is defined by the period that it's set in, and it's a shame because it shouldn't be. It like there's so many different aspects to the Star Wars universe that that period of time of the Skywalkers is a very limited period of time in terms of that universe, and I've harped on about it on this show multiple times. Go back in time, go forward in time, stop setting it around the Clone Wars and stop setting it around the Empire. Enough, it's done. We get it. We've explored a lot of it. We've seen a lot of it. Like Obi-Wan was great because everyone wanted to see Ewan McGregor come back in something that was good Star Wars, It's like we get it. Just give it a rest. So Yeah, I'd be interested to see him come back if he was doing like a Jedi Academy, like, you know, Luke Skywalker's
Ooh,
Jedi Academy. I'd be
yeah.
interested to see him come back if he's doing like a Knights of the Old Republic, you know, Darth Revan story, or
Hmm.
a Darth Bane story or something like that. There's so much more to explore with Star Wars than just that period. And I would argue that The Mandalorian is a classic example of Star Wars feeling like Star Wars without being set in the same period as everything else.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Boba Fett, even Boba Fett, for all its faults, felt like Star Wars, just in a
yeah.
different period. And stop setting stuff on Tatooine. Enough with Tatooine as well. Not everything has to happen there. Anyway, moving on from one Star Wars news to another Star Wars news.
I don't know
Speaking
why
of,
that tickled me for a second there. I was
uh,
like, as soon as you said it, I was like, yeah, everything is in Mos Eisley, doesn't
yeah, I
it?
was
For
gonna
no
say,
good reason.
yeah, Tatooine's the center of the universe, seemingly. So, apparently it's really remote that everyone goes to. But there you go.
Yeah.
Star Wars, The Acolyte. There have been rumors about what's been going on with it, and we haven't really heard much from it. But
Hmm.
little bits of news are starting to spring to the surface,
Oh
Zane.
yeah.
Bespin Bulletin via SSF Gazette, try saying that fast, have been coming up with some details. We know already that the show is going to be set hundreds of years before Phantom Menace.
Mm-hmm.
But now it seems very likely that the show will revolve around the rise of the Sith Lord Darth Plagueis, who was
Oh.
the mentor of Palpatine, who would obviously later go on to be the Emperor.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why it's looking more and more likely now is that there has been some concept art that has been doing the rounds for the Acolyte show
Yeah.
with, and this is a direct quote, snow-covered mountains alongside tall cities which have long tentacle-like features and bell-shaped roofs. It's believed to be Scipio or Scipio, I can never say the name,
Right.
which is the homeworld of the Mun. Why is that important? Well, Plagueis himself is a Mun. So it is sounding more and more likely that he will be playing either a supporting role or possibly a main role
Yeah.
in his own journey in the years before he took Palpatine under his wing. My theory is potentially it'll be him reflecting on his life and how he amassed the legacy of the Sith before Palpatine obviously killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see where this is going. Again, before Phantom Menace, good,
Mm-hmm.
good. Yes, let's see more of that. I want to see more of the High Republic when things were peaceful and there was all this machinations in the background and stuff was happening. Good. What do you think about that, Zane? Would you be interested in seeing the rise of Darth Plagueis?
Yeah, why not? Like everyone loves a good villain.
Why not?
Yeah. Also, like I guess it's besides the books and the encyclopedias and stuff. It's not really, I guess, and the video games to an extent. It's not really a side we get to explore a lot about the dark side. We're always warned about the dark side, and but it's not like we've seen it firsthand of like what it could be, the potential, the people that join it, besides knowing that they had a hard time and anger and everything else leads to it.
We had a hard time. Uh,
it's just not fair.
yeah, that's what they say in the Sith Academy. You've had a
Mm,
hard time, and you know what that leads to? Bit
a
of the old
red
anger, doesn't it?
crystal.
Yeah,
Put
yeah.
that in you.
Bleed the old kyber crystal.
Yeah, but yeah, it's exciting, like you said, because it's an aspect we've never explored before. I wonder if we get to see like a fresh face baby Palpatine, golden locks and everything.
Yeah,
Like
Palpatine floating in a little pod in a little robe with big eyes. Yeah,
where he
very
has
much
like
so.
a dream and he's like, one day I'll train.
Yes. One day I'll have unlimited power.
A boy from Naboo will find me.
That's what they'll call his show. The Boy from Naboo. Anyway, moving on. I look, Star Wars. There's a lot of good Star Wars stuff coming. I'm excited. So yeah, let's watch this space, and you'll be sure to hear about it from us. But last piece of news this week. It's rare that we get to talk about this, Zane, on the show, but we're both big fans of this. Doctor Who, the 60th anniversary is coming. It is happening. It's on its way, and sffgazette.com has once again come out with the goss, and they've done an interview. It is confirmed David Tennant is returning for the 60th anniversary special. You knew this already. Don't owe me like it's a surprise. You knew this already. We do know that he's returning. We have no idea the context of it. We've just seen a set photo with him and Catherine Tate, who is returning as Donna Noble as well. There is, for those of you who watch the show and know the lore, there are very good reasons why those two shouldn't be together. So it's very confusing as to why they are. Presumably it's some kind of weird flashback. But what we do know is that Tennant's Doctor will square off with Neil Patrick Harris's mysterious villain. However, David Tennant has said that he was very quick to warn fans at the expo in Boston that the set photos aren't even close to the whole story of what's happening, saying he and Tate actually filmed on a closed set with many other people. Now, this ties in with Russell T. Davis, who did a previous interview with Doctor Who magazine, and he teased fans with the endless possibilities of what could happen in the special, suggesting that there's a very good reason for the 10th Doctor's return. Would you like me to read out the full quote from that?
Yeah, go for it.
A mysteriously forgotten excursion for the TARDIS in between the planet of the Ood and the Sontaran Stratagen? Or maybe a multiverse thing? They're all the rage these days. Maybe this is the Doctor and Donna from Universe 557, all set to collide with our own. Then again, maybe, just maybe, this return is so impossible that it's actually an intricate illusion created by an old enemy of Doctor's. But maybe an old enemy of Donna's. Neris? He added, of course, I wouldn't give that away in the pages of DWN, would I? But then again, this is the magazine that it was the first place that I ever revealed the name of Billie Piper's Rose. So read carefully. There are truths in here.
Oh.
So, what are your thoughts, Zane, on the possible return of... Is this Tennant's actual 10th Doctor with Donna? Is this the weird half-human Doctor back and somehow been paired up with Donna somehow? The Doctor Donna, maybe? Who knows? What do you think is going on? Give us your thoughts.
Am I right in thinking the photos that got leaked, he was wearing the blue suit, not the brown suit?
Yes.
Which is interesting, because that is the Dr. Donna look like that was left with him, wasn't it? Like,
Yep.
I feel it could be the Dr. Donna.
I wonder if if they're plucked out of time right at the point of the Dalek stuff. You know, maybe right. You know, when they were about to die in the TARDIS, in the star where they dropped into the star.
Yeah.
Maybe this is like an alternate thing where something breaks time and they suddenly get whisked away to this Neil Patrick Harris situation. Because I don't know who Neil Patrick Harris is playing in the show. Maybe the Grand Intelligence, possibly.
Yeah, that would be a sound idea, wouldn't it?
Last time we saw him was the incredible acting talent of Richard E. Grant. So it's going to take something with immense power like Neil Patrick Harris to really top it off, you know?
Can I really want to see a Valiant.
Valeyard. The Valeyard. Yeah, I want one as well. I was so disappointed because in God, listen how emotional I got with that. In the 11th Doctor's series, his first series, there was a whole bit where they planted the seed for that very thing to happen. Because there was an entire episode where they're stuck in like this English country village, and all the people are like, you know, they poison them or some stuff like that. I can't remember the entire thing. Anyway, the whole thing turned out to be a dream they were stuck in a dream, and it was the Dream Lord.
Oh yeah, I
and then
remember
the end
that.
of the
Yeah.
and it was Toby Jones as the Dream Lord,
Yeah.
and then the end of the episode, the Doctor was like, "Well, it was me."
Yeah.
And it's like they set the seed for the Veil Yard perfectly, and they've never done him ever on screen. And I don't know why. I can only assume because the writer thought of a good way of including him when you've got people like the Master floating around, who's kind of like the mirror version of the Doctor almost already. But yeah, I agree with you. They should have included him in.
You're right. That was the perfect setup. And I think in that same season, there's the hotel where behind the 11th door, it's like what you fear the most, with the Minotaur going around.
I think that's the next season, but yes, it was the first
yeah.
2 seasons, but they kind of both tied together because there was the whole thing with
Yeah.
the silence, wasn't there? So
Yeah.
they should have done that. Like Moffat was a great writer, but he was really bad at his endings. Like he couldn't deliver. he couldn't deliver on the climaxes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Even with Richard E. Grant as well, because he mentions the Valiard, and I thought, oh, maybe he is the Valiard. But then, I'm the intelligence. It's like, would have been nice.
Yeah, Richard E. Grant was Doctor Who though at one point in the
animated
comic. No, in the comic relief like skit thing. Do you remember they did that comic relief where it was Rowan Atkinson was Doctor Who?
Yeah.
And then he regenerates into like Richard E. Grant, and he also regenerates into Hugh Grant. Anyway, and then he regenerates.
There was an animated series that he voiced as well.
Yeah, and then what's his name? Jonathan Pryce comes in with his Dalek bumps, and he's got breasts.
British humour.
It's fantastic. It's great. It's great. Go find it. I can't remember what it's called. Time Clash or something like that. It's comic relief. Doctor Who. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Sorry, what did you say to me at the end? I didn't catch that last bit.
There was an animated series that was on. It was like Flash animated
on BBC, wasn't it, or something? Yeah.
I think it was like their BBC website, and then maybe BBC Three. But yeah, he did the voice acting in that, I remember.
Some people are speculating what spin-off shows are going to happen from it, because Russell T Davies loves his spin-off shows. We had Torchwood, and then we had Sarah Jane Adventures, and whatever that school one was that nobody watched.
Yeah,
can't remember what it's called. So yeah, lots of people have been speculating what they'll run off. Whether they'll do a unit one potentially, or
I'd love a unit one.
Yeah, so we'll see. We shall see. I'd quite like to see a Gallifrey one, to be honest with you, like a Life on Gallifrey one. Not like Life on Mars with John Sim back as like the Master, and he can't remember who he is, and
goes into a coma.
Yeah, he's in a coma as the Master on. Is there life on Gallifrey?
I'd love to see what's his name? He played as Timothy Dalton.
Yeah.
I love his wrestle.
The greatest James Bond before there was James Bond, really. Timothy Dalton is the example of what James Bond, like he is the James Bond before his time, because he is basically playing Daniel Craig's James Bond in the 80s.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I really liked his.
I'm a slasher. That Timothy Dalton.
The exact same one.
Yes. It's amazing. I love him so much. He's one of the best things about Hot Fuzz, but I need to go and watch Hot Fuzz again. He's just so terrifyingly menacing and yet hilarious at the same time. I bet if we crack your head open, all kinds of secrets would come tumbling out. Go watch Hot Fuzz, guys, if you haven't watched Hot Fuzz. Yeah, anyway, that's the last bit of news I had this week, Zane. I thought we'd end on a Doctor Who high, because we don't talk about Doctor Who very often on the show, but it is one of the things that brought us together, my dear.
That's true. That's true.
I thought, why not?
Hey, I guess we can put it to the audience. If you want us to maybe watch some old Doctor Who and review it, I'd love to do that if you'd be up for that.
What? We should watch the movie, Doctor Who the movie.
With Paul
See how
McGann.
badly that's aged.
But let us know in the comments down below if you want to find out more about Doctor Who, if you want us to talk about more about Doctor Who, and I'm regenerating.
Yeah, I can tell.
Let us know in the comments down below. If you listen to this this is exclusive to YouTube, so you're going to drop a like, subscribe, and everything else. Of course you are.
You're all right, Zane. You're all right. I'm not sure if he's doing okay, guys. We might have to end this now. I think we're going to have to get out of here and make sure Zane goes and have a nice lie down and a cup of cocoa.
I feel like I've just had the Matrix, what's it called? The Matrix thingy from Gallifrey.
The Matrix thingy from guys, he's really lost it. I don't know what's happening to him.
Frazzled, yeah.
Yeah, you are frazzled. Right. All right, guys. We are going to be back next week with more tips and bits on exclusive to YouTube. So watch this space. Also check out our podcast, Undisputed Nerds, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you can find podcasts, and also on YouTube as well. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.